We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Indonesia arrests French drug fugitive. Thai forest rangers trained to tackle wildlife crime. Elephant seals take advantage of the shutdown in California. INC holds Aid to Humanity in Edmonton. INC Aid to Humanity reaches out to Toronto communities. Plus, unusually freezing temperatures hit Toronto. This is Eagle News Canada bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Lou Aquino. A French drug suspect on the run since escaping from an Indonesian jail nearly 2 weeks ago has been recaptured. A local police officer says the suspect tried to bribe the officers when they found him in a forest. A French drug suspect on the run since escaping from an Indonesian jail nearly 2 weeks ago has been recaptured, police said on Saturday. Felix Dorfin, who faces the death penalty if convicted, was found hiding in a forest in North Lombok on Friday night, police said, and was returned to jail in Mataram, capital of the island. Wearing disheveled black clothes and looking tired, Dorfin initially tried to bribe officers to let him go. He didn't resist arrest but wanted to bribe our officers, North Lombok Police Chief Herman Suryono said Saturday, adding he was found following a tip-off from locals in the area.
Ada uang yang dibungkus di dalam daun gitu tadi. Selama pelarian dia di hutan itu, dia rupanya membawa sejumlah uang dan berupaya untuk menyogok anggota kita, tapi alhamdulillah kita nggak lakukan itu.
After being checked by medical teams, he was returned to jail. The 35-year-old Frenchman was arrested in September allegedly carrying a false-bottom suitcase filled with 4 kilograms of drugs, including cocaine, ecstasy, and amphetamines, at the airport on the holiday island next to Bali. On Friday, officials said a female police officer had been arrested for allegedly helping Dorfin escape in exchange for 14.5 million. Jailbreaks are common in Indonesia, where corruption is endemic at all levels of society and inmates often held in squalid and poorly guarded prisons. In 2017, 4 foreign inmates tunneled their way out of Bali's Kerokbakan prison. 2 of them were captured a few days later, but an Australian and Malaysian are still at large. Camo-clad rangers ambush a camp in a lush Thai national park, kicking away a machete and a firearm and pinning 2 suspected poachers to the ground, part of a training exercise to counter a lucrative wildlife trade. Camo-clad rangers ambushed a camp in lush Thai National Park, kicking away a machete and a firearm and pinning 2 suspected poachers to the ground, part of a training exercise to counter a lucrative wildlife trade. Go Team leader Kirthorn Tangon yells as the group tackles the actors, who had near them sambar deer antlers and a blade covered in fake blood. Thailand's conservationists are struggling to stamp out the multi-billion-dollar black market in animal parts, finding themselves outgunned by illegal hunters and outflanked by courts. The country is a key transit point for smugglers moving on to Vietnam and China, 2 of the world's biggest markets for parts from endangered and protected species. But efforts by its 14,000 rangers to take down illegal hunters and loggers are often stymied by a lack of resources and training, with about 15 rangers killed each year in deadly encounters. Impunity also reigns for traffickers who are well connected politically and financially, dodging jail time when there is little ironclad physical evidence to keep them behind bars. Gathering evidence, protecting a crime scene, and using forensic analysis were some of the skills developed by more than a dozen rangers who took part in the training week led by anti-trafficking group Freeland. Among the participants in the event at Khao Yai National Park, which culminated in Friday's mock scenario, were 4 officials from neighboring Cambodia and Laos.
เก็บหลักฐานนี่ก็สำคัญเป็นอันดับแรกๆเลยในการสืบสวนเพราะว่า ถ้าเราป้องกันสถานที่เกิดเหตุไม่ได้เก็บพยานวัตถุหลักฐานได้ไม่มากพอไม่รัดกุมพอหรือว่ามีความถูกต้องไม่พอเนี่ยก็จะเป็นช่องให้ผู้กระทำความผิดสามารถแหวกออกไปแล้วก็หลุดพ้นจากข้อกล่าวหาของเจ้าหน้าที่ได้
Freeland has emphasized the need for material evidence as it cannot be manipulated, whereas an eyewitness can retract his testimony, said Country Director Pektrag Sangchai, a retired police major general. The training, funded by the British Embassy in Bangkok, comes the same week a Thai court dismissed charges against a suspect wildlife trafficking kingpin. He was accused of smuggling 1 million worth of rhino horns to Thailand, but the case unraveled when the sole eyewitness changed his testimony. A successful conviction has to be handled correctly from the forest to the courts, said Freeland's program director Tim Redford, adding that widespread wildlife poaching and smuggling involves transnational organized crime rings.
How to handle evidence that's collected from a crime scene to ensure that it can be forensically tested and make sure that it's not contaminated in any way with other people's, say, fingerprints or DNA or stuff like that. And although these techniques have not really been used much in the past in parks, they are definitely becoming more essential in preparing solid cases that will end in convictions.
One case which left the Thai public incensed involved construction tycoon Premchai Karnasutta, who was arrested last February after rangers stumbled on his camp in National Park in Kanchanaburi province. Animal carcasses, including a rare black leopard, and guns were found, but Premchai, one of Thailand's wealthiest moguls, denied he was poaching and was released on bail. Investigation is pending and a court verdict is expected in March. The tycoon's case was at the forefront of all the participants' minds on Friday as the clearest example of what the rich and powerful could get away with in Thailand. During the shutdown, a very popular beach in Point Reyes in Northern California has been taken over by a colony of elephant seals, and more than 40 pups are born on the beach. The rangers have decided to keep the beach closed to not disturb the seals and their pups until they are weaned, which will happen end of March at the earliest.
During the shutdown, we actually had a storm that came through that was coupled with what are called king tides, very high extreme tides. So what that did is it displaced some of the elephant seals that are in other locations in the Point Reyes National Seashore and pushed them over here to Drake's Beach. And some of the seals came into the parking area. One seal actually came up this accessible ramp, and you can see this is where she laid down for about a day until she went back onto the beach. Just in a matter of a couple of nights, the seals moved in, and now that they've had pups, we can't disturb them, so we're going to allow them to stay here. Something we're going to experiment with this weekend is to allow some access down here to the beach, and we will have park rangers and volunteer docents that will have guided walks, not on the beach will remain closed, but along the edge of the parking lot in the beach. And from that distance, as you can see, the seals are very close.
Up next, the Iglesia Ni Cristo holds Aid to Humanity in Edmonton. INC's Aid to Humanity reaches out to communities in Toronto. These and more when Eagle News Canada returns. We will be right back. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Canada. The Church of Christ, through Aid to Humanity project, continues to help residents of Edmonton. Thomas I. Likeness reports.
The demand never ends at Hope Mission, where the homeless and the hungry line up daily for a meal. The social agency traces its roots to North America's Great Depression. Hope Mission began in 1929 as a soup kitchen, offering meals to people in Edmonton who had no jobs and no place to live. Its work carries on today. Presently, there are about 2,000 people in the city classed as homeless. Many more live in poverty. At times, some have resorted to rummaging through dumpsters behind restaurants in search of something to eat. Various levels of government have attempted to help the poor with a variety of programs. But many people find themselves turning to non-governmental social agencies to help them with their needs. These agencies also receive support from the community. Recently, members of the Church of Christ set up tables loaded with food and clothing on the sidewalk outside Hope Mission to give away to those in need. Earlier in the day, church members packed the goods for distribution. Edmonton District Minister Voltaire Tamisen says the church frequently conducts such campaigns.
And this one is to show our concern to our fellow men and to our loved ones who need material things, and not only material things that we are sharing to them, but most especially our faith inside the church.
He adds the help is not limited to church members.
Actually, we share what we have not only to the members of the church, but also to our fellow men that they need something that can support their life.
It's just after 4 in the afternoon and the doors to the soup kitchen have opened. People are filing in for their meal, and today they have been given something extra. For some, this act of kindness may be the first time in a long time they've experienced a stranger's caring. For those helping out, it's a chance to share their blessings and give back to the community. In Edmonton, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News, I'm one with 25.
Meanwhile, in Toronto, another outreach effort of the Church of Christ took place. Here is Raisa Mangilit with the details.
Reaching out to those in need is the aim of Church of Christ Felix Y. Manalo Foundation. In unity with their worldwide efforts to help the community and those particularly in need, members of the Church of Christ Toronto congregation donated food items to the Daily Bread Toronto, a leading food bank in Ontario, Canada. Members of the Vaughan and Midtown Toronto congregations donated their food items at Flemington Food Bank. Despite the inclement weather dipping as low as -34 degrees, members of the Church of Christ delivered boxes upon boxes of food donations and was warmly received by the said food banks. Food bank coordinators expressed their gratitude to the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation.
Hi, I just want to say thank you so much from everyone here at Daily Bread for your generous donation and all your hard work in organizing the food drive that you did for us. So big thank you to the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation and the Church of Christ locale in Toronto. Thank you, your efforts are so appreciated.
MYA Foundation and the Flamingo Food Bank, and I really appreciate this partnership and your support and help for Flamingo Food Bank. Thank you and for help and support.
For Eagle News, reporting from Toronto, Canada, this is Raisa Mangilit, 1 with 25.
Coming up, freezing temperatures hit Toronto. Eagle News Canada will return shortly. This is Eagle News Canada. I am Lou Aquino. The winter in Toronto has been unusually cold this year, Angela Milano reports.
Environment Canada issues a snowfall warning for the entire Greater Toronto Area and the rest of Southern Ontario. In Toronto, heavy snow started falling just before noon today and continues to envelop the city. The upcoming winter storm is expected to leave the city with 15 to 20 centimeters of snow Monday evening to Tuesday morning of the next day. Because of the heavy snowfall, commuters are dealing with public transit delays, slippery roads, and slow, heavy traffic. Colleges and universities have canceled their afternoon and evening classes and their operations for the rest of the day. Some offices and workplaces have sent their employees home early to get people safely indoors and off the dangerous roads. According to Environment Canada's website, The snowfall is the result of an Alberta clipper that will cross the area. Surfaces such as highways, roads, walkways, and parking lots may become difficult to navigate due to the accumulating snow. Visibility may be suddenly reduced at times in heavy snow. Since last week, Toronto has been experiencing double-digit negative temperatures, and with today's snowfall and upcoming winter storm, the city continues to trudge itself through what seems like a harsh winter this year. For Eagle News reporting from Toronto, Canada, this is Angela Milano, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Angela. That is this week's Eagle News Canada. Join us next week for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.ph and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph. Thank you for watching. I am Lou Aquino, and I am 1 with 25.